Welcome to our channel today. We dive into one of the most shocking developments of 2025, the US-India diplomatic and trade crisis. Two nations often described as natural allies are now standing on opposite sides of a serious conflict. The United States and India, the world's largest democracies, are suddenly locked in a dangerous standoff. But the real questions are, what caused this sudden breakdown? Is it only about trade and tariffs, or is it about power, politics, and the struggle for global influence? And most importantly, could this crisis change the course of the world economy and international relations for years to come? Stay with me as we unfold the entire story step by step. The foundation of US-India relations. To understand the present, we must look at the past. The relationship between the United States and India has always been complex. During the Cold War, India leaned more toward the Soviet Union, while the US supported Pakistan and tried to counter Soviet influence. This created decades of mistrust. In the 1990s, India's nuclear weapons program brought heavy US sanctions. But at the same time, India's growing economy and booming IT industry attracted American companies. Slowly, the two countries began to move closer. The landmark US-India civil nuclear deal in 2008 symbolized a new era of partnership. Both nations began cooperating in defense, space, technology, and trade. By the 2010s and 2020s, the US and India were seen as key strategic partners. Defense pacts were signed. Billions in trade flowed between the two nations. American tech companies invested in India, and Indian students became one of the largest groups in US universities. The future seemed bright, but beneath the surface, tensions never fully disappeared. The spark of the crisis. So, what went wrong in 2025? It began with trade. The United States, facing pressure at home over economic competition, decided to increase tariffs on several categories of Indian exports, from textiles to pharmaceuticals. Officials claimed the move was meant to protect American jobs and industries. India did not remain silent. In retaliation, it announced tariffs on US agricultural products, electronics, and other imports. Suddenly, two countries that had celebrated growing economic ties were engaging in a trade war. But the crisis did not stop there. Diplomatic disagreements began to pile up. The United States criticized India's domestic policies, including issues related to human rights and regional security. India, on the other hand, accused the US of interfering in its internal matters and failing to respect its sovereignty. What began as a trade dispute quickly grew into a full-blown diplomatic confrontation. The political angle politics has played a huge role in this crisis. In the United States, leaders facing upcoming elections wanted to show toughness on foreign policy, especially against nations seen as economic competitors. India, meanwhile, wanted to project itself as a strong and independent power that would not bow down to outside pressure. This crisis has become more than economics. It is also about political image, national pride, and the race for global influence. Both nations want to prove they cannot be bullied or controlled. The economic fallout. The economic impact is enormous. US-India trade is worth hundreds of billions of dollars. American companies rely heavily on Indian IT services and manufacturing. India, in turn, exports pharmaceuticals, textiles, and technology to the United States. A prolonged trade war could damage both economies. Prices of goods could rise, supply chains could be disrupted. Millions of workers, from farmers in India to tech professionals in Silicon Valley, could be affected. Stock markets around the world are already watching the situation closely. And this is not just about two countries. The world economy is interconnected. When the US and India clash, ripple effects spread globally. From Asia to Europe, nations are preparing for potential shocks. The global response. Other nations are watching carefully. China, already in competition with both the US and India, may see this as an opportunity. Russia, historically close to India, may try to strengthen its ties further. The European Union is also concerned, as instability between two major economies could affect trade across the world. The big question is this: will this crisis push India closer to nations like Russia and China, weakening America's influence in Asia? Or will it force the US to rethink its strategy and attempt reconciliation? Lessons from history. History teaches us that trade wars and diplomatic conflicts often spiral beyond expectations. The US itself has faced trade wars in the past, with China, with Japan, and even with its European allies. Some of these disputes ended with compromise, but others reshaped international relations for decades. India too has experience in balancing between superpowers. During the Cold War, it carefully managed its position between the Soviet Union and the US. Today, it is trying to balance again, this time between the US, Russia, and China. This makes the present crisis not just about tariffs and trade, but about history repeating itself. What lies ahead? So where does this leave us? Will Washington and New Delhi step back from the brink and return to dialogue? Or are we witnessing the beginning of a long-term rift that could change the balance of power in Asia and the world? The future of this crisis will depend on several factors: political will, economic pressure, and international mediation. If compromise is reached, the US and India could once again emerge as powerful partners. If not, the world could see the rise of new alliances and the decline of old ones. In the end, the US-owned India diplomatic and trade crisis of 2025 is not just a news story. It is a turning point. It is about economics, politics, and the struggle for global influence. It is about pride, power, and the choices nations make in times of conflict. What do you think? Is this crisis just another temporary dispute? Or is it the beginning of a deeper breakdown? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you want to stay informed with authentic, in-depth analysis, make sure to subscribe to True Information Network.